If you're a mortgage broker looking to scale, then hiring an admin won't save your business. It might actually just make things worse. So mortgage brokers hit a wall when they try to grow. They bring in an extra pair of hands, hoping to lighten the load, but instead they end up overwhelmed with even more chaos. That's because real growth isn't about hiring, it's about structure. In this masterclass, I'm going to break down the staff framework, which is a proven system to help you scale from a solo broker to a fully functioning business. And what we're going to cover is the 3 roles every mortgage brokerage needs. We'll talk about when to hire and who to hire first. And we'll talk about automation and financial strategies that fuel sustainable growth. If you want a business that runs without you being in every decision, keep watching because this one's for you. Let's dive into it. Now, the staff framework is broken into 5 areas, and it stands for an acronym for structure, team roles, automation and systems, financial strategy, and then future scaling. And each stage is crucial for you to ensure a scalable, profitable, and efficient mortgage business. So the first S is this structure, okay? It's laying the right foundations. Now, what I find, and this is something I see a lot, is that when mortgage brokers start out, they do well, and then they bring on an admin, usually. This is the idea I hear a lot, is they bring on an admin, and when they bring on an admin, they feel like they need an admin because they want to offload the tasks they don't want to do. Often admin tasks. But what does an admin task really mean? This is the thing we don't think about enough, is what is an admin task? Because admin is very different depending on what it is you're trying to do. And so oftentimes we bring on a general administrator and then they kind of do the stuff we ask them to do. And so we're asking them to do all these random things. And so what I found with working with brokers, if we're looking at trying to grow their business and scale it and then create this unit around everybody, is that we need to define these clear roles of what an admin is. An admin, in my opinion, needs to be thrown away. The word admin should be banned. And instead, a good mortgage business has these 3 team members. So the first one we have is an advisor. So the advisor is sales and advice. This is the broker or the business owner normally at the start. And we'll talk about more about that later on within this, but this is going to be the broker. So they are responsible for giving advice, closing deals, and generating revenue for the business. They are the sales people. They are the regulated individual within the business. And again, something that we need to think about. Usually, like I said, it's going to be you as the initial advisor, but you can bring someone in later if you choose to scale the business. And in an ideal world, this person should only be focused purely on client-facing work, ideally, and their role. That's their job role. The second role we have within this staff framework is what we call the paraplanner, or it is a paraplanner. And this is research and case management. So these are people that handle case sourcing, liaising with lenders. They're going to handle packaging the application, and they work on the back end of the business to ensure compliance is smooth and that it runs and all the processes are going okay. So a paraplanner is, as we said, the back end of the business, all the stuff that needs to be done that you don't want to do when it comes to packaging cases. This individual should really never be speaking to clients on the phone or from a customer facing point of view. They might email them. So they might go back and forth and chase documents. That could be the case, but they are not going to be somebody who is dealing with the customers, chasing up reviews, doing any of that type of customer facing stuff. They shouldn't be doing that at all. It's a very different skill set. They do all of the back end stuff for the broker. And then the third person you have in this is a customer service / PA, which is what we call client care. And this is somebody who manages client onboarding, communication, and follow up. And they act as the gatekeeper to the advisor, and so it's protecting their time. I love this role specifically. This is somebody who's very customer focused, very people person. And as I said, they are a gatekeeper. And if you think about that system, well, the idea of this system is we have an advisor who gives the advice. We have a paraplanner who packages all of that advice and does all the stuff and takes the headache and the legwork away from the advisor. And we have a customer services professional who's going to be at the front end of that to be able to liaise with people, to be able to talk to them and to give a really good vibe to the client when they're going through, but also stops the client from going and wasting the broker's time. That is what we need to be looking at in our business. Now, what you'll notice with this is none of these are admin, because admin doesn't mean any of those. They're all admin in their own way, but the word admin doesn't really work. And so oftentimes we end up hiring the wrong person for those roles, because a paraplanner, for example, is going to be a more detail orientated and maybe more introverted. They're going to not want to spend time with customers potentially. And so that will lean them towards doing that type of stuff, meaning packaging cases, speaking to providers. Whereas a customer care or a PA, that person, they are going to be more extroverted most likely. They're going to want to talk to people, to share, to chat, to get to know them. That's the type of thing that we have to look on that side of thing. Now, when you employ an admin, the problem with employing an admin is you end up with usually they're bad in one and good in another. And so they end up doing the tasks they like to do, not doing the tasks they don't like. And so you end up getting annoyed at them because they're acting against their nature. And you'll go, oh, well, that's not what I employed you for. I employed you to be an admin. But what is an admin? Again, I say that. What is it? So we need to try and define our roles and get them very clear. And when you have very clear defined roles, and these are these three roles of a mortgage business, you are able to really fly with this. And as I've said already, it doesn't mean that you need to be the advisor. Over time, you can bring advisors in and replace you and get you out of the business if you needed to. So let's move on to the T of the staff framework, and that is the team role. So hiring the right people at the right time. So when should you hire people? What should you do? We're going to talk also about the income levels and the categories later as to what I think that you should hire, and at any point you should, but we're going to talk about that in more detail. Now, before I go any further on this one, if you want actually to download this guide, it's a little bit more in depth than this one. There is a PDF downloadable guide. You can get it in the show notes here or the description here. It'll be at the top, and you'll be able to download that, and you'll be able to get your version of this broken down. It's got a bit more text in it. It's got a bit more of a breakdown, so that you can, if you want to start implementing it in your business, you can. So just so you know, just so it's there. Now, what order should we be hiring in? Well, these are when we should hire the role. So the first hire should be your power planner if you want to focus on sales and client relationships, and it should be your customer service if you prefer to handle case processing yourself. So that should be your first hire. Now, the decision with this one is, what do you naturally lean to? So again, we keep talking about the admin and what do they lean to, but you as a broker, what do you lean to? So if you are somebody that is thinking, I want to lean more towards, I like doing the cases, I hate dealing with the customers, then maybe you should bring a customer service person on first. If you're somebody who's like, I love dealing with the customers, I love being the face of the business, I love that, but I hate the admin, the traditional, what we say, admin heavy work, then okay, cool. Maybe you bring a power planner on and you take those roles. So remember, you are still filling all three of these roles in your business. The power planner, the customer service, and the sales, or the advisor, they are happening. If you're a one-man band, you're just doing all three of them. But now we can start to segment them out. So your first hire should be whichever one you feel is your least strongest point in the business, and you should hire them at that point. The second hire then, once you're at capacity and you've hit certain income milestones, which we'll talk about later, you then bring on the missing role of that. So you then bring on either the customer service or the power planner, whichever one is the one that you've decided to keep, you bring them on. That gives you the second point in these team roles and when to hire them at the right time. From that point then, you then move to the third stage, which is another advisor. So once the lead flow is consistent, you then can add another advisor in to grow revenue. What we found with this model is that they absolutely can have a team where you yourself as an advisor, you can have one person do two of them at the same time. It's very doable. So one power planner, one customer service person can deal with two advisors quite easily. So you can have another advisor in there at that point. And if you wouldn't really step away from the business at that point, but it is something you can do. From there then, as you do go further, you might want to hire a marketing assistant to boost lead generation as a fourth hire. So this could be somebody part-time or maybe full-time, depends on your revenue, but this would be a fourth additional hire on top of that, which is if you wanted to bring someone who could then start to really amp up the marketing so that you're able to really reach new people. And a marketing assistant be someone who edits your videos, produces your content, does all that stuff for you. This would be a hire in-house. I'm a big advocate of bringing all roles in-house, really, and you should really, if you want to have that, you should have that in-house. But I don't think you should have it in-house until you've gone through at least these three, in my opinion. And we've seen brokers do this system over and over again. It's very, very doable. Now we know the roles that are in our business, and now we know the order in which we should hire them. So that brings us on to the third part of the staff framework, and that is the A, which is automation and systems. So this is about working smarter, not harder. So the first thing we look at is CRM and case management. So you want to automate client follow-ups, reminders, and documentation as much as possible. So yes, you do have a power planner or you do have a customer service person to deal with this, but it doesn't mean that you should just let them deal with it and, go completely analog on me and go, you know what, I'm paying you to do that job, which is again a traditional way of looking at it. You don't want to think of it that way. You want to think of it as, what can we automate so that we can free up their time as much as possible to add more capacity? it's much better. It's in your best interest to do that. So CRM and case management needs to be completely optimized to the max. And there is one of my clients specifically who's phenomenal at this system. He's running through it and he's doing incredible, but he's doing it in an even more unique, bespoke way on how he's done it. It's phenomenal how he can implement it. The next one you have then is lead qualification and booking. So you want to use things like Calendly, or again, other software like Go High Level and stuff you can use. And you can use this with routing logic to pre-qualify clients before any calls. So this will allow your system to pre-qualify if they are a complete non-starter. So there might be ones that are a little bit gray area, but if they're like completely non-starter, they've got no deposit, you don't want to be speaking to them, you don't want your customer service person having to deal with that, then you should use systems in place that are going to root them out and weed them out. Of course, you don't want to weed out everybody, but you do want systems in place that allow that. Plus, lead qualification and booking call stuff like Calendly. That's good, or really Go High Level does all of it. That's the system that I use, and my clients use that. Then that system is phenomenal, and that will allow you to with that one you can use you can do all these pre-qualification things, so you don't have to worry about booking people into your diary and stuff. It's all there. You then have what we have the automated emails and SMS, meaning contact management. So this is about keeping prospects engaged. So your prospects are not your clients. In the Mortgage Business Mastery system, I define this very clearly. Prospects and clients are two separate things. Prospects are people who could become a client. They've expressed interest in potentially working with you. A client is working with you or has in the past. And so we want to have eventually in this system automated, again, Go High Level does all of this stuff that we're talking about here. That is what we want. We want to have automated systems that are keeping people in a nurtured sequence, from our social medias to our emails to any form of constant contact. And getting that automated so you don't have to do it as much is a game changer. It means you can be working while you sleep because it's happening in the background. And then you have pipeline management as well. And again, tools like Go High Level will do this as well. And these are 4 things that this is about getting your pipeline managed, and you know exactly where every single case is, so that all 3 of your team, so all of you, your paraplanner, you as the sales advisor or advisors, and also the customer service person can look at it and go, yep, I know exactly where we are. That is so important to have. And that is the A part of the staff framework. Now let's dive into the F, which is financial strategy. And this is about scaling profitably. And this is the bit I spoke to you earlier about, which is this concept of at what point should you scale? At what point should you actually start to bring on staff? And again, all of this stuff here is, this specific one anyway, is a recommendation and just what I've seen with clients. But let's have a bit of a breakdown. So the first thing to point out with key financial strategies is you want to make sure you're charging proper fees. So a fee-based model is going to ensure you have a stable income. It's going to make your business less vulnerable to market shifts. And this is important, especially if you have staff, because it's going to create cash flow, because it's just going to be much harder to scale otherwise. So make sure you're charging proper fees that is financially viable for you if you're going to start truly scaling your business. You want to then reinvest in growth. So you want to allocate revenue to hiring, to marketing, to technology. This is something that if you are somebody who's interested in growing a business, you have to understand that you have to spend money to make money. Now, if you are somebody that wants to just have a lifestyle business, you're happy where you are, you just want to do it on your own. Again, this model can still apply to a lifestyle business. Doesn't mean it has to go to some sort of to the moon. This model really is one advisor and two people either side of them, really. But what we have seen, and I've got a client of mine right now who's just taking this to the nth extreme, which is amazing to see, where he's scaling this at such a level and in such a way that is pretty powerful. But you don't have to. But if you do want to invest in yourself, you should be allocated, remembering that money is you're going to have to pay in order to make the money. Then the profit margins and salaries, the things to point out with this, I'd say, is you want to maintain a 30% profit margin while scaling. If you start dipping below a 30% profit margin, I don't think it's worth it for you. So you want that I mean, you might find it might be 50 or 60%, but 30% for me is the red line. It's that, don't cross that. It's the line in the sand. If you've got that point, you need to start looking at other things. If you're getting it consistently, not 1 month, but if you're getting it for like a quarter or a half, like Q1 and Q2, you need to start looking at that, really, because that's, I'd say, gives you a clear point of now we're maybe we're too small to actually have the staff we have. And so at that point, it's okay, you might need to either, just look at it and make some hard decisions. So let's talk about the revenue-based hiring guide. Where should you be? At what point should you hire? These are all completely obviously just guides, but this is what I've noticed. So in my opinion, up to 100,000, I think nearly all brokers can operate on their own without an administrator. Less than 100,000, truthfully, I don't think you need it. You yourself can do all three of those roles absolutely fine, especially if you're utilizing insurance sales within what you're doing. There's no real need for you to have that. If you're doing 100,000 on mortgages alone and you're a fee-free advisor and you're not doing any insurance, then you'll put yourself in an early grave, to be honest. But 100,000, in my opinion, is a solo operation. 100,000 to 50,000, I think, is when you hire your first hire. So that is your paraplanner or your customer service assistant, like we said, at 100 to 150. Bring them in at that point. At 150 to 250 is when you would look at bringing in your second one. So in that bracket, you would look at bringing them in. So you'd bring in the other missing part. And then from there, at 250 to 500, you will look at hiring additional advisor, for example, and investing in lead generation. Now, when I say investing in lead generation, that's what I mean bringing on a marketing person in-house so they can take away a lot of the busy work, the editing and stuff like that you don't want to be doing. But also having that additional advisor, you should have enough business to now feed that advisor. Now, once you're 500 plus, truthfully, you should be fully structured with marketing, sales, and all the like marketing, sales, administration, meaning power planning and customer service. That is all in place, and you should have a pretty solid business at this point, running around at that level. And at that point, then you can decide whatever the hell you want to do at that point. That's up to you. If you want to step away, you want to bring someone else in, you want to just run it as it is, that's your call. And again, it's your call no matter what. But that's kind of the point of what I'd say you've got 500,000. You've got technically either 3 employees if you've got an employed advisor, or 2 employees and a self-employed advisor. Or, well, technically at that point, you'd have marketing as well if you wanted them. So you could have 3 employees and a self-employed advisor. That's pretty solid business. That's an organization of 5 people at that point. So that's a small business, a nice little small business there for you. And truthfully, not as impossibly hard as you think. Obviously, it takes time, but you see the structure is very simple and laid out for you. Which brings me on to the final F of the staff formula is future scaling. So building your business that runs without you. If you want to step away from your business, if that is your goal, and the great thing about this staff formula is that you are able to jump off at any different point. But if you are looking to build your business that runs without you, then you want to then look at these 4 areas on top of that. So you then look at hiring additional advisors to get you out of the business. And so you might scale the revenue by bringing in junior brokers once the systems are in place. So you have like trainees and you can start offering that. You might also start to develop niche specialization. So you might look at going into high net worth clients, buy to let, self-employed. First time buyer, I'm not a massive fan. It's not a great niche for that, but you can if you want. So you start to market yourself as a key broker and key advisor in that area and key business in that area. You might look at expanding aggressively, so investing aggressively in your brand and marketing. So this is about really ramping up social media, getting really out there on SEO, dominate your local market with Google Ads, sponsorship on local events, really just becoming the go-to only person that they can think of. That would be something you consider doing. And then the 4th one you have is operational efficiencies. So you can look at your workflows and everything like that and continually refine them to try and shave seconds or minutes or whatever it is off the time. But all of these 4 things is what will allow you to continue to grow. So by the time you reach the final F, which is here, you are at the point where now we've got to do things a little bit differently. We move into these things, which is niche, branding, hiring, and like say really refining the process. So if you look at this, the staff framework on screen right now, you can see you lay the right foundations in your business with the structure, you hire the right people into your team with the team roles, you implement tools for effective growth and strategy with the automation and systems, you scale profitably, can't say that right, with the right financial plan, so you're doing it in the right way, and with the financial strategy, and then you future scale by building a business that runs without you being there. That is the staff framework in full effect. Like I said, you can download this right now if you want to. It's literally in the description right now. You can download that there. But that is it at full effect. It's very simple in theory to follow. It's not easy to do. It's a long roadmap. It's probably 5 years, could be 10 years to reach that point. but it is a system that is very doable. And I think oftentimes when brokers think, what can I do with it? That's how you do it. Now, if you do have any questions or you want to be coached, for example, on how to do this, I would head over to ashborland.com. I'm happy to help you over there. You can potentially book in a free discovery call with me, subject to availability, and we'll see if I can help you reach those levels and those new heights. And if you've enjoyed this video, this masterclass, you might like this other masterclass on screen right now, which is a mortgage marketing blueprint, which is going to help mortgage brokers effectively systemize and scale their marketing and do all the right things to start generating leads. So you want to check that one out on screen as well if you're fancying a bit of a binge. Go on, give it a click.